Hey everyone. So this is part 2 of the Copilot Studio Agents beginner series. So in this part 2, you're going to learn a bit more advanced topics compared to the previous one. Here you're going to learn about classic orchestration versus generative AI orchestration. We're going to add a different knowledge source along with the public website. We're going to add a Dataverse into it, and we're going to test multiple types of conversational style, what you can do with the agent to, and each responses are quite different compared to the previous one. Again, this is a totally beginner series. I highly encourage you to watch part 1 first because this is a continuation from that. I hope you enjoyed this one. Take care. Now let us go and learn about additional components like entities in Microsoft Copilot Studio. So to find entities, go to your Copilot Studio, and if you are building an agent, you can click on this ellipsis to find settings, go under the settings of the agent, and on the left hand side navigation under settings you can find entities. So first let me quickly explain what this entity is. Basically, Copilot Studio uses this natural language understanding to interpret what user is saying to try to match a user's utterance with an existing topic. So if a user say that I try to use a gift card but it doesn't work, the agent knows to route the user to the topic that's related to the gift cards which is not working, even if that exact phrase isn't listed as a trigger phrase. This concept can also be referred to as intent recognition. So there are two types of entities. One is pre-built. On the right hand side you can see that there are quite a lot of pre-built entities. So this represent the most used information such as age, color, number, name, and Microsoft Copilot Studio can recognize these entities automatically. Then additionally, you can see there are custom entities as well. These entities that are the one which is created by us when you create the agent, while the pre-built entities cover common used information type. Sometimes we need to create and teach agent natural language understanding model based on a domain specific knowledge. For instance, you might need to create a list of product type, because if the agent is designed to automatically find some information of a product, the pre-built entities might not be sufficient, so you need to give that additional information. So you might create that, or to look for a specific phrase or patterns like for a support ticket or like an order number, things like that. So first, let's look into what is a closed list entity. So I'm going to click on this order action, and this is a closed list entity. So before I select, let me quickly show you that. So if you look at the right hand side, the method of this particular entity is closed list, and this particular user is the one who created it. I used it to create it for this particular agent. So I didn't provide any description, but let's go and open the order action closed list entity. So if you notice, this is the entity what we have used in the previous example. So if you watch the part 1 of the video, we created a custom agent using Copilot Studio, and we have gone through different settings within topics and things like that. And one of these entities we've used within the question node, and within the question we had like an option where the user need to ask to list item, and there was 3 options for the order and things like that. So that's where we used this entity. These were the things were the options like update, check, and cancel. Additionally, you can add synonyms to it. Like for example, for check, I can add a synonym called status as well. Click on add and click done, save. So now instead of check, if somebody uses status also, that recognizes that that is meant for checking the status of an order. So that's how it can interpret. So under the method, you can see smart matching, and the toggle is turned on, which will help match any sort of misspelling, grammar variation, and words with similar meanings. And you can see that under method, it says that it's a list. So this agent will try to match an item on the list based on what customer says. So that's why it is called a closed list. Now let's close this. Now the next type is regex. So I have 2 regex entity. Regex is a short for regular expression. So let's open one, the order number. Here you can see that the pattern what we have given is ORD dash a number with 6-digit number. This is what we have provided in the part 1 of the video. So when we were testing that agent, once I provided an order number, so I provided like ORD dash and some number to have a conversation with the agent, and agent understood it and it started responding back to me with other questions. So this could be useful for identifying order number, support ticket number, or anything that follows a set of pattern for the agent to take appropriate action. So you can see other examples listed here and things like that. Let's close it. So if you want to look at a pre-built agent, click on a pre-built agent. Similarly, you can see this particular pre-built agent is to detect age of a person, place, or a thing to an exact extracted as a number. So if somebody says I'm 19 years old, it is going to extract a say value called 19. If someone says she is 10-month old, it's going to take the 10 as the saved value. What are the other things you can do within the settings? So on the settings tab, you can see on the top, we have the agent details. This is where you can update the agent display name. So if I click on it, you can update the agent display name. You can update or change the icon. You can modify any sort of advanced settings. This is where you can choose to replace the more classic natural language understanding approach for topic triggering and entity extraction with one that based on a large language model to do multi-intent detection and more complex entity extraction. So we will see an example of that soon. This is where you can configure content moderation settings. So you can see that how strict you would like to have the content moderation be. So for this agent, we've set it as high or more precise. So you can play around with this, like fine tuning the content moderation to see how the agent is behaving. Other option is security. This is where you can share your agent with other users to co-author it or with a security group to use it. And this is also where you can configure end-to-end authentication settings and choose other things like web channel security. This is going to allow you to further secure the direct line channel that used for any web or custom application. Authoring canvas, we talked about that in the part 1 of the video. Entities, we talked just now. Skills, this is where you can register external bot framework skill that your Copilot agent can call, and where you can configure how existing Azure Service Bot can use your Copilot Studio as a skill. So we will look into this example in the future video. This is where you can configure custom language models deployed and trained on Azure AI language in Azure Conversational Language Understanding. Now let's go and observe these entity usage in the nodes. So let's close this. If you go under the topics, let's close this and let's click on check order status topic. So here if you look at it, if I come to the authoring canvas, let's close this test pane. I'm gonna bring this to the middle. Let's look at the order status, and the first is the question node under the order status. So under identify, you can see that there is a order number. So that's the regex is used. So if you click on the order number, so you select the select tool, click on the order number. It checks to, so here you can see that it checks to see if the user responses match the pattern. So click on the order number, and if you scroll further down, you can see the close list entity we have added, that is order action. It is used in as the second question. This saved their answer into the global variable called global order request. And in the question node, you can see that this allows you to display selectable options from the directory in the chat like you saw in the testing previously. Now let's look into the topic management node. Microsoft Copilot Studio allows authors to redirect to separate topics such as escalations. So here you can see that there are multiple options we have seen in the part 1 video, where depending on what user provide, conversational node can be created to handle the escalations, things like that. So typically the topics are set to trigger based on what user are typing or saying to the agent, or based on an event such as an escalation, conversation start, or other system topics with event-driven triggers. So let me show you how you can add a topic management. So here we have a redirect option and end of conversation. So if you click on plus icon, and then you have multiple options here: send a message, ask a question, ask an adaptive card. Along with that, there is something called topic management. So I'm going to select topic management. And within topic management, you can see there are multiple options. First one is go to another topic. So this node has an extended flyout menu where you can transfer the conversation to another one of your topic. So you can see that these are the other topics already I have. So if I want to connect this node into another topic, I simply press on it. That creates another connection. End current topic selection means that this option ends the current topic. Typically, you will see this option where the topic was called from another topic. It would be returned to where it was originally called from. You can also use this particular option in branching conditions. So if you select this option to end an entire topic of a branch, the behavior operates similar to the end all topic node. The next one is end all topics. So this node ends all active topics. The next message from the user is considered a new conversation and triggers the most appropriate topic based on their message. Next option is the available option is transfer conversation. The next one is transfer conversation. Select this option to transfer to an agent and send a contextual message. Next option is go to step. This allows the author of an agent to navigate to another node in the open topic. So this option is useful for looping scenarios or if you want to gather more information from the user. And finally, end conversation. So this sends an end of conversation activity. This can be useful for a client chat widget, for example, deployed to your website to know that the chat session is over. So to exit out of it, if you don't want to create anything, just click on an empty space in the authoring canvas. So that exit out of it. Next, look into reusable topic. To find out reusable topic, click on the view topic. So why would you use a reusable topic? Because large topics can be challenging to maintain and update. So it's good idea to separate them when possible, especially parts of the conversation logic can be shared by multiple topics. So this concept is referred as reusable topic. And here you can observe the topic's own branching logic. So this separation of topics also makes trigger phrases more effective by creating clarity when mapping the phrases to specific topics. Another one I want to talk about is the rich text options for message and question nodes. So if I click on add another question, if I click on add, ask a question, and click on add. Here you can see multiple options called message variation. This allows for additional preset messages to provide more diversity in agent responses. There is image option. This add an image to a message using a URL. There is video option. This allows you to add a video using a URL of a publicly available MP4 or a YouTube link. There is a basic card option. This option includes simple cards that provides adaptive cards such as visuals and the ability to add buttons with basic actions, things like that. We will see this later. And adaptive card, you can use adaptive cards which are platform agnostic cards that are designed to be flexible to suit the need at the time, including requesting action, displaying information, etc. And quick reply, this option allows users to select from a specific option rather than needing to enter the response in the text-based scenarios. So there are quite a number of rich text options for message and question nodes. So next I want to talk about the rich text option in the message node. So if you go under topics, under system, click on conversation start, and you can see that there is a trigger for the conversation start that is on the start of the conversation. Here you can see there is a message. So instead of a simple message, there is an image as well. So bot builder image. So that's what you have seen. Whenever you test something, you can see that instead of a regular message, you will get the default messages, this image, because we have added this option here, the media option. So if I click on this image, let's exit this test area. So if I click on this image, you can see where this is coming from. The title and the URL for this is coming from the Learn site. So here, if you want to add another message variation, all you have to do is click on Add, click on Message Variation, and this node already incorporates both image and quick reply options. So in the message variation, I'm going to type in, "Hey there, I'm the virtual assistant here to help you explore Copilot Studio." And let's scroll down at the bottom of the screen. So we have a quick reply called "Help with my order." So I'm going to add one more. I'm going to add "Check ticket status" and click on Save. Now if you go and test this, now we will have a new option. So let's refresh it. All right, so you can see that the bot has come up with saying that, "Hey, I am your virtual assistant here to help you with Copilot Studio." This is exactly we have added now. And on the quick reply, there was an existing option called "Help with my order." Now we have added a new option called "Check ticket status." So that is running at the moment. Of course, I can get you the status as long as if I provide the order number ORD dash some number, it is going to pick up what's your ticket number, things like that. Next, let's look into the code view and power effects. So to do that, click on this ellipsis called More and click on Open Code Editor. This code editor is incredibly useful for advanced authors and developers, and who are given the ability to view and edit a topic's YAML code directly within the web browser. When saved, the changes are immediately visible in the graphical authoring canvas. So what you're seeing on the screen is the YAML code of this particular agent what we have built. So we have been using so far the graphical user interface. Now this is the coded version of the same agent. So if you're not making any changes, click on Close Code Editor. Next, let's learn about formatting a date with Power Effects. So for that, let's click on Topics. Select a topics. I'm going to select the check order status. I'm going to exit out of this test. Scroll down till you find order check status, and under the branches, scroll down till you find set variable value right here, this one. All right, so if you look at here, you can see there is a variable set called order delivery date. So under that, you can see to value, and if you click on this select variable, here you can see the power effects formula. So this formula takes today's date and time, for example, and adds 2 days to it, and then format it in a long day format. For example, Saturday, June 2, 2035, or things like that, and set it as an order delivery date. Click cancel, and if you scroll down, under that there is a message node, and if you look at it, and this is formatted date using the order delivery date variable in its response along with the order number the user provided. So you can see that by clicking on this, you can see the order number should be delivered by the order delivery date based on the variable what we defined before. So if you click on the test agent now, here click on refresh. So if I ask a question, I like to check the status of order 001342. So there is a question asked to clarify, did you mean order check status or check ticket status? I'm going to say order check order status. What would you like to do with your order? Check. You can see that now. One moment, I'll check your order for you. Your order should be delivered by Sunday, May 11, 2025, because it took today's date and added 2 more extra days. That was the condition given, and it said that it will be delivered in 2 days. That is quite good. In the next example, we are going to learn about build and call Power Automate cloud flows from your agent. And within that, we are going to go through a lot of these small tasks. So what we are going to basically do is we are going to extend our agent's capability by integrating Power Automate cloud flows. And what we are going to learn is Copilot Studio can pass users input to a flow and retrieve external data and displays that data back to the user in a structured and interactive format. So let's go and learn that. So to explore Power Automate usage, let's exit out of this. Let's not save it. Let's go under topics. I'm going to skip out of the test to expand it and click on check ticket status. So here you can see under trigger, there are a lot of phrases added. What is the status of my ticket? Can you get me information on the ticket status? Could you check the status of my ticket? And a lot of these sort of trigger phrases. For any of these phrases, the response is, of course, I can get you the status of your ticket, and the question node takes the ticket number because it is going to identify and ask the ticket number. It is going to save that in a variable, and then we have an action tab or action node then uses the ticket number as an input for a flow created in Power Automate. This is the flow created in the Power Automate. So if you want to see that, you can click on the flow. Let's scroll back up. So under actions, you can see that get ticket status. Click on this view flow details, and that's going to open that in the Power Automate. All right, so this is the flow. This is to get the ticket status response back. Just to let you know that this is a simulation. It's not directly connecting back from a real ServiceNow connector. You can do that as well. But just for the lab, it is just like a pseudo connection back. So if you want to modify, click on edit. This is that when Copilot Studio calls a flow, return values to Power Virtual Agents. That's the only information we have here. So this is the flow we created. Ticket number, if we enter an input value, the next flow what we have given is return this value back. In the real world scenario, there would be a node for connecting to ServiceNow, and then it would use the ticket number variable from Copilot Studio to retrieve the requested information. In the final step of the node, the retrieved data is returned to the agent. So if you click on the return value, you can see that what are the activities which is doing, cancel all future tasks, and in the final task, proceed to the next task. You will see it contains a lengthy hard-coded sample ticket with lots of information in a JSON format. So this is what a typical ServiceNow response would look like when it retrieves a ticket. So this is a fake one. We are simulating that. So let's close this and let's go back to the Copilot Studio. So if you look at under the flow, there is an output value called ServiceNow ticket info. So it takes directly that information, retrieved information, and store it in this variable called ServiceNow ticket info variable. You can see that the reference for that is retrieved from that flow we created. Under that, you can see there is a parsed value. Now let's go and test this flow. Click on test, click on refresh to create a new chat. So I'm going to ask a new question called, what is the status of my ticket? So here you can see that the status of the ticket is email server is down because we already parsed that information, the impact category, software, things like that. If you look at it, it has a nice formatting to that, which is transformed from the JSON data the agent received. So if you if you scroll down, you can see all the message, how it is formatted using the adaptive card. Alright, now let's go and learn how to make HTTP requests to connect to an API. So let's refresh the topic. Let's go to the top topic. We have an example for that. On the topics, we have a cryptocurrency price. Click on that topic. Here there are a lot of phrases, which is what's the current price of Bitcoin? Can you tell me the latest crypto price? Things like that. And based on that, the question is going to ask to the user which option the user is going to prefer, like USD, Euro, Pound, etc. Based on the currency choice, it goes into the HTTP request. So if you click on the URL, this takes the URL to the Gemini API and combines the text with the text of the topic variable selected, the topic.currency, and set the combined URL to be all lowercase. And this ensures that the URL for USD and Euro, for example, is correct for the API. And this data is saved under cryptocurrency price variable. So this is the variable. So to test this, let's click on refresh. And here I'm going to ask, what's the current bid price for Bitcoin? What currency you want to see the current price of the Bitcoin? I'll say USD, and I got a price for that. And if I select did it answer the question, yes, and I can rate it. If I'm going to ask one more time, let's look at the price in euro. Let's click on euro and we got a different price for the euro. All right, so that's how you can connect to an external API to get information for the agent, because many conversational assistants are most impactful when they complete tasks or interact with external data. Now let's go and learn about how to leverage knowledge sources, AI knowledge, and custom instructions. First, let's learn how to configure a Dataverse knowledge source. So let's go back to knowledge and click on add knowledge. So we're going to add a Dataverse. So from the featured option, select Dataverse. Under the available tables, select account and click next. I think you can preview what the data is. Let me quickly show you that. So let's quickly go back and click on preview. This shows what that account Dataverse have. And go back to the account tab, click on next, click on advanced, and under synonyms, increase your agent's data retrieval accuracy by adding synonyms for complex and unclear column names in your table. Click on edit. So here we are trying to find address one. So we have a lot of category, classification, account number, account rating. Here we can find address one and then click on add synonyms and click on address. And here you are going to add as address and click on add and done. In the description for the address one, we are going to say that complete address of the account. Click back. Now if I go click on the advanced and click on edit, and now if we scroll back, when we find address one, you can see that address one, oh, why my description is not added? All right, so let's hope this is going to stay here. Let's click on back, click on add. And I forgot to modify the glossary. We have to modify the glossary too. Enter the term customer and the description. The customer is the synonym for account. Click next and save. And let's hope this works. If not, we will come back to this later. So now we have added the Dataverse. Now let's, for this to completely get added, so we need to make sure that we come back to this and we get the green tick box called ready. Till then we will do other activities. Now let's go and change the security settings to authenticate with Microsoft. So we've been so far authenticating with no user account. So let's go and learn how to do that. So click on the settings under security, click on authentication. Here we are going to click on authenticate with Microsoft, click on save. So this data source requires authentication because searches are done in the context of connected end user. At minimum, only records the end user have read access to be are returned and summarized. That's why we are making this change, because we want to read something from the Dataverse. Click save, and once successfully saved, you will soon see an option with green option called authentication settings saved, and publish your agent to take that effect. So every time when we make any changes, we have to publish the agent to get the new result back to the users. So now let's go and configure a website as a knowledge source. Let's go back to the agent, or let's close this. That takes us directly to the agent. You can still see that my Dataverse is still showing as unknown. So let's add a new knowledge source. Click on add. This time I'm going to add a public website, and let's enter a public URL. I'm going to give adoption.microsoft.com and click on add and confirm the owner checkbox and click on add. Now let's test the website knowledge sources. So because we have added the adoption site, it has a lot of information about a lot of sites. To do that, let's go to our test your agent. So we're going to ask a question like, what is Microsoft Copilot Studio? Because if I go into public website, I have this adoption site, I have this learn site from Microsoft. It should get information from any of these sites about Microsoft Copilot Studio. So it is going to retrieve some information. What we are curious is, what is the reference link it is going to give based on the answer. All right, it is telling me Microsoft Copilot Studio is all the features and things like that, important note. And if you look at it, there are 3 reference points, and it clearly tells where the data is coming from, all coming from Microsoft Adopt or the Learn site. So let me ask a follow-up question, and I'm going to ask, how do people use it in their business environment? Although, if you notice the question I asked, oh, didn't I ask? Okay, let's go and ask another question. How do people use it in their business environment? So if you look at it, this follow-up question doesn't mention a specific product. The generative answer should maintain the context. So rather than providing all the context, because you can see that I just asked how do people use it, it understands that I'm talking about Copilot Studio and retain the context and start giving me the response based on the previous conversation. All right, so that's really good. That is working. The next what we are going to learn is we are going to learn how to configure custom instruction for any sort of classic orchestration. So let's go under topics and let's click on system and click on conversational boosting. So when classic orchestration is enabled for intent recognition, instruction need to be set at the create generative answers. This is typically in the conversational boosting system topic. So I'm going to click done, boost your conversation with Copilot. That is quite good. So here you can see that the trigger is an unknown event and there is a create generative answers. If you click on the ellipsis here, you can go to properties, and here under the content moderation level, I'm going to tell that talk like a pirate and use pirate expression, use emojis in your responses and answer in less than 50 words. That is quite cool. And I'm going to click on save, and now let's test this is taken effect. I'm going to click on refresh. Now if I go and ask what is Copilot Studio, it should not give me the long blurb what it have given me before from the learn side. It should customize it and it should assume like it's talking like a pirate, because that is the message we have given. And another instruction I have given is like use emojis in your response and answer less than 50 words. Don't give me a super long answer. Already, yeah, I can see that it is already started using emojis. It's very short and super compact message, but at the same time it given me a reference link where to find that information and things like that. So that is working. Next, let's go and learn how to configure custom instruction for generative AI orchestration. So for that, we have to go under settings of the agent, and on the left hand side click on generative AI. So this custom instruction can be set in distinct places depending on whether you are using generative AI orchestration as a main intent recognition mechanism or if you use the classic natural language understanding approach. So now here we were using the classic. I'm going to switch it to generative AI, and I'm going to retain the strict moderation to be high, to be precise, and image input is kept disabled, and I'm going to click on save. So now the main intention of this agent is changed to a classic mode. So the changes have been saved. So click on close to go back to the agent. Now if I go back to the overview of the agent at the top and click on edit, so I'm going to modify the instruction of the agent. So the description is the same. I'm not going to modify anything. The general instruction was this before, so I'm going to modify this, and I'm going to tell that talk like a pirate and use pirate expression, use emojis in your responses, answer in less than 50 words, and I'm going to click on, where is the save option? Yeah, click on save at the top of the agent. So now this agent is designed to talk like a pirate. So now let's go and use AI general knowledge. So to do that, under overview, if you scroll down under knowledge, here you can add knowledge, but you can allow AI to use its own general knowledge that is already turned on. So in addition to knowledge sources, if you can use AI general knowledge, this will allow your agent to find and present information in response to customer question. So general knowledge save you from needing to manually author multiple topics and which may not address all customer questions. So this is kind of like a safeguard, but you have to test it well. So this capability allows the agent to try and answer questions with its own knowledge outside of any grounding data from your knowledge source, like asking question to ChatGPT. So now let's go and test it. So I'm going to click on the test option. I'm going to ask a question. Click on refresh first. And I'm going to ask a question like, can you list the planets from closest to farthest from the sun? I'm expecting the response like a pirate, but a correct answer as well at the same time. All right, and with some emojis. So you can see that it is using the pirate format to respond, and it is giving me the correct set of planets. Now let's go and review the generative answers node. Let's go back to topics and click on system and click on conversational boosting. And if you go under create generative answers, click on the ellipses, go to properties, and here you under knowledge sources, you can enable get search result from the knowledge source using the selected node. So enable that. With this selected, you can actually handpick the knowledge sources that should be used when entering that specific node. So I'm just going to select this. That will include our websites and the Dataverse as well. And under classic data, I'm going to turn off allow the AI to use its own general knowledge. And under content moderation level, I'm going to click on customize. And the content moderation setting is the level of control you apply to avoid the agent from hallucinating, that is coming up with wrong answer to a question by misinterpreting or overinterpreting the grounding data. So now we leave the content moderation level as super high, not high, just high, and click on save and click on save. Let's go to the knowledge tab and see if the Dataverse is ready. Yep, you can see that the Dataverse is ready. Now we can test the Dataverse here, and we are going to test the Dataverse knowledge source. So we've already tested the custom data, public data, and things like that. Now last test is the Dataverse. Now let's click on refresh in the test agent, and I'm gonna ask a following about the accounts in the Dataverse table. Which customers are located in Redmond, and list them in a table with their name and address. So that information is available in the Dataverse table. So it should get the data from the Dataverse table. Alright, so it gave me a response. The customers in Redmond are City Power and Light Sample, Conteso Pharmaceuticals, Darum Corporation, and things like that. So if I ask a follow-up question, thanks, who is the primary contact at City Power and Lights? It should understand that and pick up the primary contact details for me. Scott is the primary contact. So the Dataverse testing is also complete. That's quite good. Next, let's use the generative AI orchestration to interact with your connectors. So let's learn how to go and create an action. So let's go to the actions tab. So first and foremost, when you turn on generative mode, the agent can automatically select the most appropriate action or topic to respond to the user's runtime. So actions are based on one of the core action type. It could be a pre-built connector action, custom connector action, Power Automate Cloud Flow, AI Builder prompts, or bot framework skills. So what we are going to do is we are going to click on add an action. So we're going to say we're going to pick get forecast for today and click next. In the end user authentication, I'm going to select Copilot Author Authentication. Under input and outputs, click on units. How will the agent fill this input? I'm going to set a value and click on confirm. Set as a value, and in the value, select Imperial and click on done and click on add action. So now we have added an action. How do you test it? Let's wait for this action to be added. So the action is added, it is enabled, and we got the green tick box. Now click on refresh to test it. So if I say, how is the weather today? Click send. So first and foremost, what location would you like to get the forecast for? You provide a city, region, state, country, landmark, postal code, or even latitude or longitude. So anything is fine. So I'm going to tell Dallas, click enter. Now you can see that it is processing the next information, and based on a pirate language instruction we have given, it is telling in the imperial what is the 77 degree Fahrenheit is the temperature. And now if I ask another question, wait, I meant the weather for London. Also, please list all information you have in bullet points. All right, so now you can see that without even providing the context, I just provided London. So it says that the full information about the day, night, the weather condition, the moon phase, and everything, and including the pirate language. Next, let's go and learn invoking AI builder prompt. So we're going to create custom prompt and pass it to input and use it as an output. So to do that, first change to the classic orchestration. You know that, click under settings. If you go under generative AI, you can switch it to classic and click on save. And once the changes are saved completely, click on close, click on topics, and we're going to pick a topic here. Check ticket status. So our goal is to use generative AI to draft a letter to the user based on an issue raised in the ServiceNow ticket. So that is our goal. So let's go to the message node. Scroll down till you find the message node, action, phrase. Yeah. All right. So once you find, so this is the message node. So I'm going to click on the plus icon and click on add an action. Here you can see there are a lot of options, and within that we are going to select a new prompt. Give a name to the prompt. So I'm going to tell ticket customer communication and give the instructions. So I'm going to give instruction like, based on the ticket details, write personalized apologetic message to the person impacted. You can summarize the issue to show you understand it, show empathy, and suggest ways to mitigate the situation based on the ticket details. Have a positive attitude and use emojis when applicable. Don't include hashtag. Test should be a single paragraph. Do not use a signature. So I'm gonna add additional information to enter, and I put forward slash and then click on text, and in the dialog box I'm gonna change the name to ticket details, and for the sample ticket information I'm gonna put on the JSON information for a sample ticket details. Click on close, and here we have the model picker. I'm gonna choose the model picker. I'm going to change from basic to standard GPT-4o and click on save. Now our new prompt model is being saved or saving. Under enter the select value, click on this and select the ticket info and scroll down till you find the output. Here click on the select a variable and click on create a new variable. Click on the variable and give a name for the variable. I'm going to call it as personalized message. This variable 1 is the default variable name at creation. So this should always be updated to something more descriptive and easily identifiable. That's why we renamed it. And if you go and scroll down for the topic, everything looks good. And scroll down under the prompt mode and click on plus symbol and click on send a message to create a message node. Click close on the properties. Click on send a message, click on insert variable and select the personalized message dot text and click on save. Alright, so now we have done a lot of work. Let's see if this is going to work. Now click on test the agent, click on refresh. So I'm going to ask a question. Hey, could I get an update on ticket on this particular number? So we should get an apology message because that's the prompt we have given. All right. Yep, we got that. David, I sincerely apologize for the inconvenience caused in the email and things like that. Thank you for the message. And that is really good. So I hope you've learned a few things compared to the part one. We are going to do many more of Copilot agent or Copilot Studio agent, both agents in the upcoming videos. I will see you on the next one. Take care.